CloudDB, shaping your new normal.
Okay, welcome everyone to the 2021 APAC Groundbreakers Virtual Tour by Apaco UC. This year, our event will be the biggest one ever done with 144 sessions, including normal sessions, workshops, and hands-on labs from 100 different speakers over 17 days. Also, it will cover sessions in 4 different languages, and please remember to register to as many sessions as you can. I would like to say thank you to our Oracle user groups and Java user groups that made this event possible, and also to our sponsors, Oracle Groundbreakers and your main sponsor, CloudDB. Now for today's session, tips and tricks of using Exadata since 2010 by Fermando Simon. Please feel free to write questions at any time during the session at the chat of the live webinar, and the speaker will be answering them at the end of the session. If there is any issues during the presentation, please feel free to contact me at any time on the chat tab of the live webinar. Now, without any more delays, I would like to leave you with this amazing session by Fermando Simon.
Okay, first, I would like to thank you, to say thanks for the APAC user group, Oracle user groups, all of them, to invite me. And I was looking some days ago and say, okay, I'm the starter of this virtual tour, because I looking, okay, I'm the first one, so it's quite nice, it's really nice from that. So I appreciate. So today my session will be tips and tricks of using Exadata since 2010, and you will understand some points, and I hope that you enjoy my presentation. So first, sorry, it's not working here. So the safe harbor statement, because I'm speaking by myself, by my own. My actual employee have nothing related with this presentation, so can be different of the views and opinions from my actual company. I'm talking as Fermando Simon, and I'm a part of ACE program. And now this changed sometimes in the last few days, last few weeks, but Oracle ACE program is really nice. You can share your knowledge, you can share your doubts. Feel free to join. The tiers are changing a little bit, but feel free to join. It's really nice, really interesting. It's really, really, really good. So, just to say, the agenda for today is quite simple. Is who am I? I speak about a little bit about myself, the projects that I made with Exadata, just to understand a different point of view related with Exadata, some features, how you monitor, how you manage these, and how you patch, some more. So I talk about features, how to use, and how you patch, and Q&A at the end. Okay, so who am I? So I'm a senior database living in Luxembourg in Europe. I have some certifications, Oracle, OCP, OCA, OCI architecture. I have Microsoft SQL Server certification as well. But my main focus is Oracle. I had spoke in several events, Open World Latin America, and several presentations. My contacts are there, my email, my blog, my Twitter, and my LinkedIn. Those are really related with technical, and I not share funny things or other things. It's just technical stuff. It's like to be that. I like to be that. The Twitter will be at the end of every page of the presentation. So about me. So I'm Oracle DBA since 2004. I work with Oracle, Postgre, SQL 7, DB2. from 2010 until 2017, I was the head of DBA team in Court of Justice in Brazil. And there started my work with Exadata in 2010. I will start with V2, X2 later, X4, X5, and X6. And in 2014-15, we made a big project with GDLA was the first one in Brazil, one of the first that was duplicated or replicated to protect multiple sites. So you understand why this occurred. But in 2017, I moved to Luxembourg, end of October 2017. And here I work with European Commission until 2018. And in 2018, I started with a bank institution doing the same thing that I made in Brazil, Exadata Cloud on Customer recently, and GDLA. As well, we founded the Lux Oracle User Group. I helped them to found, and I'm a board member. So it's quite nice to share your knowledge. But important thing about today, what I will talk and what I will not talk about. So I will talk about Exadata. What it is and what I learned since 2010 with Exadata. I will talk a little bit about Exadata Cloud Customer. Some details that maybe you're not so much in the presentations about Smart Scan, IORM, monitor metrics. If you search, you saw nothing about metrics beside my post that I made about metrics, how to use that and why. Process to patching, some more not, I will say, how to patch. I will show that, but some details that you need to understand when you are patching Exadata. But I will not talk about how you configure SmartScan, how you use ExaCC, how you install your Exadata, and the prices for Exadata. I will not talk about that because prices change for every place and every month. These are changing. How you install, how you put electricity, how you apply the first installations. This is not so, I'll say, funny. SmartScan and HCC because this change for every customer, every database, this change. But I have some details that cover more often. So, with some questions, just to ask you, what do you know about Exadata? What they told you? The Exadata solve all your problems. Which features do you know? Which features do you understand, or they told you you can use HCC 100 times of compression, but how you use that, how you administrate this is true, this is false. Smart Scan for everything, you can disable all your indexes, this is true or not true. But how you patch, because Exadata is a standard environment, how you monitor this environment, and some details about the future, like what is Oracle changing and why, and ExaCC. So just a small environments that I worked in, starting with the left corner, the first V2 in Brazil, that we was the first to use V2 in Brazil. In the middle, the first GDLA. In the upper corner, the environment in the Court of Justice in 2015, more or less. And at the end, the Exadata Cloud and Customer X9M that recently I worked. But just to explain why Court of Justice and why Exadata. The history is this is one project that I want to show to you how is different, because it's not just to handle one database, it's maybe to handle a lot of things. And this was the example. In Court of Justice, where I worked between 2000 and 2010, we had more than 100 databases from 81, 8i to 10c. A lot of databases, more than 100, not connected. I mean, not centralized database. So every city, the major cities have a lot of databases. Okay, was client-server applications, so we have a lot of problems. So we have outage. So if we have a storm in, I would say in the we have a storm in one city, this database became down, and when you try to access the process, judicial process, you can't access. So the information was lost. I mean, for some period. So because of this, in 2010, we moved to a big project that was Exadata GDLA and MAA. So we centralized these 100 databases in a core Exadata. Okay, we are talking about more than 6 terabytes of data, more than 100,000 IOPS. I'll talk about later. We have a lot of growth because we are talking about digital process, and this means that think about judicial process, all the pages, everything became paperless. The users was saving directly in the system, because in the past they work in the Word, print the page, the judge it, sign, and after scan and put inside of the system, but the page still exists. So if we lost the database, the page already exists. But now it's paperless. Everything is digital. So the judges and the workers open the system and connect directly inside of the application, and the application into the database. So we had problems. If I lost the database, what's happened? I can lose important details from a process, from business, core business, from payments. So it's a lot of things. So we need to have focus, but not focus in application continuity, but in data continuity. So it's always on data, it's not always on application. This is important, but the important part is that we can't lose information. And just to say some numbers, so more or less 10,000 users connected directly every day inside of this environment. We serve web applications, so we have some kind of fight between the importance between desktop users, internal users, and web. So the lawyers can connect in the database, can connect in the application to do some appeals or whatever, but they are not, I would say, so important, because if the internet is not working, they can go to the forum we saw, to the court, and do the work there. So we have some kind of prioritizations. Okay, so we have a lot of things: desktop, web, synchronization, batch, a lot of things. So and all the other satellite databases connected and surrounding these core databases. So it's another view. So we are talking about reliability, the not single point of failure, and this is important for Exadata, because the key point is we was possible to do the evolution over the time. We made the information available 24/7. Okay, so this is important. These are some key points of the project. So basically, we have these rules: the desktop users, the workers that are inside of Court of Justice, they are the kings, because we call them desktop users, because they work with the data. They need to handle the data. They work with it. So they have the first priority. After that, we need to serve the web applications, the lawyers, the policies, whenever that they are external of them, the Court of Justice. So they access between the database. They came, everything they came from web access. they are the second priority. We have the synchronization between some databases, okay? And another thing that is important, if we need to disable something, we need to disable as soon as possible. If we need to cut the web access, needs to be as soon as possible. So how you do that with the audience environment? How you can prioritize the desktop users? And remember, desktop users can connect in every databases because we have 4 core databases. So the desktop connecting the where the judicial process are, where the appeals are, the index. So we have several databases. And how you do that with a standard environment? And I will show why this background with Exadata. Okay, so this is the same picture than before. So now I start to talk about personally, okay, my personal idea, okay. In my opinion, working with Exadata since 2010, Exadata have 3 fundamental pillars, okay. The intelligence of software, smart scan and storage index. Why? Because this save I/O. Okay, and this is a plugin in feature. You need to do nothing. It is available for you. Is there? If you put if you put databases there, you start to use. HCC, I would say save space, save is market because I have some drawback about that, but we talk about later. Resource management, why this is important, I will show to you later. And not just that, metrics, and it's easy to sustain. But start talking about Smart Scan. Smart Scan is a feature that saves I/O because goes directly with the storage. I will not show to use a Smart Scan because it's automatic. But when a full table scan is there, instead of read all the table for the full table scan, if you are joining 2 tables, just the rows that you return you need will be there. So this save a lot of I/O. But you need to do a full table scan or index fast full scan, because if you don't do that, you not use Smart Scan. So you can do some tweaks with STT and MTT. Have some posts that I show to you later that maybe you can read. And I put you a question. Do you know one OLTP or DSS application or database that does not execute full table scan? And I put the example of the core database in Court of Justice. We made 100,000 IOPS calculated just for one database. But this database save 95% of save by Smart Scan. Think about if I need to remove this and put that additional environment. Think about database plus storage. You think about full table scan. So if I need to put the same database in a additional environment, I need to have one storage just from one database that delivers just for this database 1 million of IOPS just from one database. This is the save of Smart Scan. So it's nice because it's a plug-in feature. You don't need to do nothing. It will be there. But you need to take care of your application. This is one example of slob. If you know what slob is, I made in 2015 with update 0%. I'm just doing select. My work unit is a big one. I have 128 schema, 64 threads reading this data with 8 nodes and doing SJ. Okay, if you look that, I have doing around more or less 2 million of IOPS, and with this work unit a little less and less threads, I made 2 million and a half IOPS. But Question mark. Exadata does not deliver 4 million of IOPS. This was Exadata X5. But why? Why I'm not reaching the maximum performance? Because in that time, slob made just indexes access, not a single full table scan or a single fast full scan, just purely indexes access. Why? Because this is good for storage. You need to return just the data that you need. And this but this queue is smart scan. So this is the point. You need to understand your data. You need to understand your application. So this is really important to understand. This is why you need to understand the features. You need to understand this. And this is important. My point to show you about smart scan is you need to understand. You need to understand how it is used. Full table scan is the important part. Okay, this is what I need what I have to you to share about smart scan. And storage index came with the same thing. Is basically the same idea. Okay, another feature is Resource Manager. Resource Manager is the better way to learn is the chapter 6 of Exadata User Guide. You have a lot of information, a really good technical guide and information on there. Really good. So basically, it's called IORM. You see a lot of IORM in the last 10 years, but you can divide now in 3 types: cat plan, DB plan, and cluster plan. Basically, you can define how you prioritize your connections, your I/O, and why you don't have the same thing in the other transition environment. Because let's talk about transition environment. You have your database, okay? Your database connect. You need to present the disks, okay? You have your disk presented, but you can just say this database, this table space run in these disks, and this disk came from Flash. The others can be from SAS. Another one can be from hybrid disk, but you are linked with database and table space. Okay, but think about my case in before. My desktop user can connect in several databases at the same time. It opened a database connection to several databases. So how can I say to that the desktop user that came from every database, whenever the database, have more priority over web if I'm using transition environment? It's impossible. So there is no other way to do that in transition environment. Whenever you can do, because you can prioritize just based in, I would say, table space and data files. But if you have 2 applications using the same data files, using the same table, how you do that? How you say that the application B have more priority than application A? There is no way in traditional environment. But with IORM, you can do that, because you can tell to them that they have the same category. This is the cat plan is the most important part, but some details later. But so you can create category for the same databases. For different databases, you can say category desktop. Okay, so you can map your connections with this. You can create categories and map categories with consumer groups. And if the database have different databases have the same categories, you can manage this directly in the I/O. So you can, how can I say that? You can trace everything since the connection. You can say that desktop connecting the database A or B. When doing the I/O, have this category whenever in the database that is coming. So I can say in the IO and say database category desktop 70% of 70% of prioritization over others. And after I can say to desktop, to web, in the multi-level plan, I can say, okay, I can do a big and a really well-defined, a fine level, multiple plans, and I can send that. But unfortunately, Oracle, in my opinion, is killing IORM. Why? Because and this I copy and paste directly, because they are removing the option for category plans. But if you remove, think about if you are removing the category plans, I will return the previous slide. You just have DB plan and cluster plan. That means that I can prioritize just based in the database. I will return in my example the desktop connecting several databases at the same time. So Oracle, unfortunately, is changing this and going back 10 years in the past. Personal idea, okay? And why? Because it's too complex. And not a lot of people are using cat plans, and it's not linked with cloud, okay? So it's more difficult to do this in the cloud, ExaCC or whenever. It's more difficult to do that. So in my opinion, Oracle is returning 10 years in the past. Just one example how to use that is there. You go to your database and you create categories, okay? High priority, medium priority, low priority. And inside of Exadata, I say that, okay, in the level 1, I have 70% for core, okay? In the second level, I say that I have 70%, okay? In the third level, I have 60%. In the others, if I have whatever, I can have 80%. So, and at the end, I have 100%. So, and after that, I can say that 60% from database. So what this means, and I just pick up the second level here just to show you I have 60 and 30%. Sorry, it's not working here. So for 70% of this IO in the first level, 60% go to this database. Okay. After that, if I not use this, the 30%, go this 50% of this 70% go to this database, and the other one go to this database. So basically is that you can say that. So I can tell to my database there that whenever it came whenever from this database applications index or whenever I have this category. So I would say it's really complex, it's really difficult to understand at the first moment, but you can do whenever you want with the performance. And this is not possible to do in traditional environment. It's impossible to do that, for sure. Where you learn Exadata User Guide, Chapter 6, okay? But how you monitor what's happening inside of your Exadata? How you monitor this? So, metrics everywhere, okay? Metrics is the records, is not audit, is recorders that Exadata software do for you. It count for you how many flash cache access I had, how many access for each grid disk, the use for CPU, the memory, and it do this for every minute. And I have 3 types of metrics. cumulative, basically since the beginning of the Exadata, that basically some metrics like the number of megabytes I read since the beginning. Instantaneous, megabytes per second, basically. And the rate, as well, okay? And rate is the average, okay? More or less, okay? So you have some metrics for, I call some metrics like isolated, that say CPU usage, memory utilization. These are that are related with the storage itself. How megabytes per second you transfer by InfiniBand, Rocky, how the many of size of megabytes in the flash cache, how you read the flash cache per second, and smart scan. Basically, they are isolated metrics. They are not related with databases. Okay? There are database metrics related that you can say how much or how many or whatever megabytes per second this database is reading from flash cache, and not this database. PDBs, consumer groups, I can do that. Categories, I can go to my Exadata right now and say how the number of IOPS that my category is doing right now, my PDB is doing right now, my CDB is doing right now. I can do that. Reading, latency, the latency to read, nanoseconds, microseconds to read the data. I can do that. And I can even say percentage of resource usage. I can do that. And I ask you, you can do this with traditional environment? It's not possible. But you're asking, okay, it's a lot of information. Why I need to use that? And I will show you one example. If you see this enterprise manager view, what do you think about that? Is good? Bad? Some problems in here? Basically, no. Some CPU usage, I/O is quite good. I'm seeing the trends. Everything appears to be fine. No issues. So I ask you, something is wrong here? Probably no. But if I'm going to read in the flash cache I/O per second, so is it strange? Look at the trends. These are really, really strange trends. It's not a normal one. Does not even appear with the previous one. But why this is happening? And if you read the numbers, because this is, I just plot the database, basically, where is my, so here it says database, it says flash cache reads I/O per second from flash cache for the database. Okay, so the numbers, look that I'm reaching 13, I say gigabytes per second from here. In these 10 minutes, okay, I just read 300 megabytes per second, the average from the last 10 seconds, for the last 10 minutes, from here to there, just 200 megabytes per second. But after I have 12 gigabytes per second, I wait 20 minutes with no reading, and after I'm jumping to 14 gigabytes per second, and I'm going there 20 minutes with nothing, and after I have 30 gigabytes per second, and the same. And if you check here, I almost read 25 gigabytes per second. So what's happened? And if I look before, everything appears to be fine. So reading the metrics, understand what's happening, I found two notes that are quite interesting, because I found two notes. That was the enterprise manager that was reading failed logins metric in the Enterprise Manager, this node. And the second node is related with the same thing. So basically, Enterprise Manager was reading how many failed logins because the SQL was bad, doing a lot of a really bad join that was fixed before, that was fixed after with a patch, but really doing a bad. So I just go there in the Enterprise Manager and disable this metric, and after that, this was the reading. So it's a normal readings. So this is the power of metrics. So you need to read metrics. It's important that you, if you are using metrics, you need to read the metrics. You need to understand the metrics, and they are really nice. And I need to share to you that the idea is first you read disk metrics, after you read flash cache, or smart scan, categories, database, and PDBs. You go in this order, basically, because you can read the PDB is inside of the database. The database can have some categories, but you have some smart scan per database. And after smart scan read from this, from flash, and after read from disk. This is the basic idea, okay? Because just this one example, how they are related, okay? The metric is flash cache that was missed per second. So basically says that how many megabytes per second was tried to find in the flash cache but was not possible to find. So it says me that in this, I will pick up the moment just to pick up the same moment, 10:58, 10:58, just to find the first one. I forgot the 10:12. Okay, and here, 158. So I have 13 megabytes per second that was missed, but this megabytes, since the IO is reading that, the smart scan, because basically smart scan is hard to use, so 4 megabytes. So over these 30 megabytes per second, I have this value. So the metrics can be related. You need to understand if I'm not reading from Smart IO is reading from the disk, is because does not found in the flash cache. So over these 30 megabytes per second, 4 megabytes per second came from the Smart IO that read from the hard disk that was not possible to find in the flash cache. This is the idea. The metrics can be related, so you need to take care. You need to understand the metrics. Okay. So the last part of the presentation is related with the patch. Okay. So Exadata have a lot of, I would say, small parts. Okay. Exadata have databases, have network, have services running in the cells, have the protocols, have a lot of things. You have the grid infrastructure, you have your databases. They can have a single instance, they can be hack one node. So a lot of things to patch. The behind the scenes is that behind the scenes you have a lot of cables and a lot of everything, but just to resume, you have SAID A and SAID B, let's say like that, and you have 2 connections per database node, one for each switch here, and you have from each switch you connect in the X. This is the reason that you have a lot of these cables, because you have here and here you have the same switch. So this switch is here and this switch is there. So the cables came from the both sides and they go to each one. You have one connection here, and connection here, and the same connection here. So your access for this database, this DB nodes, it can reach from this side, but if this is down, it came from this side. So you have a not single point of failure, but you need to patch this. How you patch? So the first thing that you need to do is plan. You need to plan what are you doing, because you can patch everything. You can patch whenever you want, just the storage, just the switch, you can patch. But you need to take care of two things: compatibility between your Exadata software that run in the storage and the switch, and the Oracle database, grid infrastructure, and the Exadata software. Okay? Because they are important they have some communications to do that. Okay? So you need to take care. So you can patch everything. You can patch the Oracle database, grid infrastructure, the storage, the islands. Everything runs over enterprise Linux, switch as well, and you have Cisco switch that basically you never patch. Okay, but why you need to patch? Because it's Exadata software, and if it's software have bugs, and bugs can be really annoying, really complex, and a lot of big problems can cause to you. And since it's a software, and since it's Oracle, you can have firmwares to be patched. Firmware for the network cards can have bugs. The I would say the Matrox hardware can have a problem. Realtek, Keylogix can have some bugs. You need to patch from them. So you need to create a plan, but you need to check the incompatibilities. You need to know if you are running a virtual machine, Exadata virtual machine, or in bare metal. Okay, so you have a big depends the holding mode or no holding mode, because the holding mode is you have no downtime. You can patch one cell after you switch to another. You patch one cell, after this cell is patched, it continues to another. So the patch can take a lot of time in holding mode. It's time consuming, okay? In no holding mode, you shut down everything and patch everything in parallel. This is good, but you need, again, to read the docs, okay? Because you can have a like this that says that if you are patching no holding mode, you can read a bug and you can corrupt a lot of disks at the same time. So you need to take care of that. So you need to understand this. Okay, you need to read the docs. You need to read the readmes. Okay, so to plan, you need to discover where you are, where you want to go, and what you need to do. And what you need to do is which mode I use. If I have downtime, I can have a downtime. Okay, I patch in no holding mode. Downtime everything, and 2 hours I patch everything. Okay, it's not possible to have a downtime, so I need to patch one by one. And license, maybe you are running a single instance, so it's not possible to switch to the second node. Maybe you have downtime because of the license. Okay, I'm running Enterprise Edition or Oracle node. You need to switch to the second node. You need to do a relocate. This is important as well. So here I've tried to switch, just check if I can go here. Just to show you in this, I will show this here is better. So this is the main important part, okay? This is in the presentation, but here you have the note for Exadata 888, and here you have everything. I will go directly here just to show you the version. I will go pick up the version 20. Okay. If I click in the README from this node, okay, is this node, and it says that to run this version, I need to have these grid versions. I need to run these database versions. So maybe I need to plan the PSU. Okay. This is another thing. But if I'm patching here, maybe I need to apply the patch for grid infrastructure. And if I'm patching the grid infrastructure, I will return here to the Exadata because it's more easy to go there. I go to 19C. Maybe I need to upgrade to 19C grid infrastructure. Okay, here I have everything documented how to patch, but maybe I need, and here I have the requirements. This is the point, I have a requirements to do. So now you understand why just to find where it is my presentation right now, because it disappears. Not this one. Sorry, because I found it here. Okay, because this is more important. This is just what I showed to you. So you have, this is the point. The patch is more, planning the patch is more complex than patch, because to patch, you just need to call one command. And I'll show you later, sorry, because I passed it in here. So this is the process how to patch. You go to the maintenance mode, the guide, chapter 8. You go there, you have the command to patch. It's just one command to call. You just need to find the version, and the version that is marked here is asked for you the target version. Target version is described here. Returning just here to the note 888. The version is here, is this code. You just need to put this there, and everything will be safe. So you need to check how to patch, and the way to patch is quite simple. You just call the patch manager, and you patch the cells, and you patch option patch rolling mode. 1 hour. This is one example. For one cell is almost half hour, 30 minutes to jump from 19C to 20 dot something. But if I'm patching a lot of versions, like I'm going to the 18 to 21, the patch can take almost 1 hour. Why? Because I have a lot of firmwares to patch, a lot of disks to patch, a lot of things. Okay? So the patch depends how old you are. Okay? This is important to know. The same for the database. Before was for the cell, now it's for the DB nodes, the ISO, where is the image, and the version that I want to go. Simple like that. Look here, almost 1 hour to do the DB node, 19 to 20. Here for the 18 to 21 is almost 2 hours. So it's a big depend. Okay? If you are old, more difficult, more time consuming it will be. So plan and prepare. Planning is more important than apply the patch for Exadata, because you need to check a lot of compatibilities. You need to check a lot of things. So you need to check for hardware errors before the patch. This occurs for everywhere. You are not patching storage if you have a disk error, for sure. The same in Exadata. You don't patch if you have a disk failure. You download the patch. You reset the island. Is just to have error, and you check errors again and per check. Okay, you need to apply, you need to check and apply the PSU that you need to apply. You patch the switches, the first, you patch the storage, you patch the DB nodes, you bare metal or VM, and is that. Is I will not say simple. The patch process is simple, but plan is more difficult than apply the patch. So this is the idea. You need to plan correctly. And for sure, if you are remembering this, I love when the plan come together. If you know what is that, you had a really good childhood. So this is nice. But just to finish, last slide, I say that is last slide, that you need to come to the dark side. This is Oracle telling you, because cloud on customer. It's just one slide, nothing more about that. Okay, because what you really need to take care about Cloud at Customer, ExaCC, cost is calculated by CPU usage. It means that it does not charge you for memory, does not charge you from storage because you paid for that size. So, but it charges you for CPU. So you need to size correctly your ExaCC. Because if I have one example, a full ExaCC 8 DB nodes, okay? I want to put my database there, okay? My database have 4 CPUs. CPU count equal 4, but it will be 4 multiplied by the number of the DB nodes that you are running. So this is for 1. And if I have a full, will be multiplied by 8. If I'm running 4, it's multiplied by 4. So this is, you can have a big consumption for CPU usage. But if your application does not work very well with hack, maybe will be more difficult. Why? Because node subsetting started to apply, so you can have just database running some nodes. You can create clusters if you like have a full ExaCC with 8 DB nodes, but you have a small number. The database wants to run in just 4. This is not possible to do right now. They are rolling. The updates will be available soon until at the end of the year. This is one thing that you need to take care. CPU usage. If you have a multiple VLAN, so if I have on-prem cluster that have 4 VLANs at Exadata, the cluster have just one client VLAN. And I will return to the topic before. You have just one, so you need to create 4 clusters if I have 4 VLANs. But if I have 4 clusters, I'm paying for 4 CPU usage for each one. So I multiply again the CPU consumption. So really take care about that. Really take care about that. And another thing, okay, but maybe I can create my database manually. I need to create my, okay, I can create my database manually. Okay, but if I create my database with DBCA, it does not appear in the web interface of ExaCC, just in the command lines. I need to register. Does not work so good. If you trying to escape for the OCI tools like create database manually or something like that, you can lose some managements, some things that you can use at web interface or something else. So this can be really difficult to escape for OCI tools or DBSCLI, DBS API or whatever. Okay, so they are really, so take care. If you are moving to ExaCC, you need to take about the CPU usage, VLANs, and the way that you handle your databases. Okay, so is that, if you have questions, I will say that is, I know that is a lot of information, a lot of things. I try to cover a lot of things in here. A lot of information that I had in the slides I not talk about, but I put there so you can read the slides again. They will be available later. So is that. So now I'm open to Q&A and try to calm down and check what you have for questions and everything else. Francisco, you are on mute for me. I'm not seeing you are talking about. Francisco, you are on mute for me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now it's fine.
Good. Sorry. They changed to
No
my
problem.
headset and it got a little bit crazy.
No problem. It's fine.
Now, I was asking to the people if they have any questions, and looks like we don't have any questions. Saying that, Fernando, thank you so much for the great presentation and a lot of information about Exadata. And I know that if the people has any questions, also they can contact you to the platform. They can contact you via Twitter and also ask you any questions with regards to your presentation.
Okay. I will say thank you so much again. Thank you so much for the invitation. I have my second presentation in December 7. I will talk about ZDLA and MAA. So we'll see in some days.
Fantastic. No problem at all. And please, everyone, look after yourself and your family. Be safe and register to another sessions too. Thank you so much, Fernando, one more time, and have a wonderful night, I think so, over there at the moment.
Yes, now it's almost 11 p.m. now.
Oh, it's good. That is 7:58 a.m. right here.
I imagine. Ok.
All right. Grande abraço. Se cuida.
Abraço. Se cuidem. Até mais.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
CloudDB, shaping your new normal.